Now, speaking of things we love, we absolutely love to see it when someone makes a pivot, right? When someone just keeps doing things that are unique and exciting, like Michael Vick. So, Michael Vick is actually doing a docu-series. I believe it's an 8-part series, and it's basically going to take us through the evolution. He's an executive producer, by the way, and it's going to take us through the evolution of the African-American quarterback in the American football landscape. It's something that's going to feature him having conversations with prominent players, former coaches, former quarterbacks from the past to the present, and really kind of looking at how he has even been a part of that evolution process, if you will. And it's funny because, of course, he's a 4-time Pro Bowler, played 5 seasons with the Eagles. Randall Cunningham was someone who was a revolutionary, and now we're kind of seeing Jalen Hurts in that space as well. But I just thought, what a cool concept to see Michael Vick kind of being the voice for that docuseries.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this because, Tenitra, I think this is something that we don't talk about enough. And even though Michael Vick was not the first Black quarterback to ever play in the NFL, he certainly revolutionized the position. And when you listen to him talk about this specific docuseries that's coming out, one of the things that just really sat with me is he said, my whole life, people kept telling me I revolutionized the quarterback position for the African-American young student athlete or aspiring quarterback. And I think that's so true. What he did and the way that he played, all things aside from off the football field, he was phenomenal. And I think it's really important that he's driving this conversation too, because there are so many specifically that played for the Eagles. And even now you're looking at Jalen Hurts, who is a guy that I covered whenever I was working in Alabama. He was playing for the University of Alabama. I love Jalen. I want him to do all great things in his life. So I think it's super exciting to not only just focus in on the Black quarterback, but also how many of them have come through the Eagles and tons of other franchises that people tend to forget every Sunday whenever we're talking about quarterbacks and how they've changed the game. And just the way that Michael Vick played was so special. And it gave a lot of young kids hope too. And it totally changed. And I mean, look at how many quarterbacks have come after Michael Vick. Of course, he's going to sit down with the ones that came before him. You said Randall Cunningham is one of them. But even the people that have come after him, it's phenomenal how many have really just revolutionized the position. I think it's an important conversation. I don't think we have it enough. I don't think we talk about the former great Black quarterbacks enough, and even the ones that are coming up now. So I think it's awesome. Good on Michael Vick for continuing the conversation. He's done a lot of really good things in commentating, and he's kind of rewritten his own story. So for him to kind of head this and be a part of the docuseries, I love it. I'm really excited to watch.
Yeah, and you make a great point about the fact that if there's any guy who can talk about the evolution of anything, in this case, the evolution of the Black quarterback in professional football, but he as a human being having evolved himself, it's almost like those storylines just cannot match up any better, right? So yeah, it's really, really exciting. And you're right, people low-key don't know. He's a really good commentator, by the way. So if you haven't seen him with his commentary for Fox Sports, or if you haven't seen him sit down with other players, he is absolutely fantastic, and he can get some great nuggets out of them. So yeah, that's definitely a docuseries that I'm excited to see. And like you said, kind of taking us back down memory lane of all of the African-American quarterbacks who brought us here to this point, because I absolutely love, like you said, you had the opportunity to cover Jalen Hurts. I know some of the people who've grown up with him in the Houston, Texas area, and people just rave about him and how amazing he is going to be. Like, no, this is just scratching the surface. This guy's going to be amazing. But also just having an opportunity, having covered the Bucs the year that Doug Williams was being inducted into their Ring of Honor. And, he's one as well who just continued to blaze trails and continues to blaze trails with the work that he's doing with the Commanders as well. So yeah, I am one who will be watching that docuseries. Now, speaking of watch, if you guys don't already follow us on social media, you're bad. But Maria's a great follow. That's why I'm saying that. So you guys need to check her out on Twitter as well as Instagram. But one of the reasons I mentioned that is because, I'll check into Instagram each and every day. I kind of check out to see what Maria does and some of our other friends here in Atlanta Metro on the sports scene, right? But I also follow both Sierra and Russell Wilson. So I happened to check literally last night before I wrapped up for the night. I wanted to see what they put on their feeds. So they both kind of did this recap of Russell Wilson's birthday party that Sierra threw. It was like this big over the top bash. And From what I saw, Maria, it looked like it was amazing. Some of his closest friends in the league were there, and she did like this cute little dance, and then the kids did their video. I'm thinking everything's all gravy, right? Wake up
Right.
this morning and find out there's controversy because apparently only half the Broncos team showed up for Russell's birthday party. So it made me think about two questions that I wanted to ask you. So, number one, do you look at that more like that was glass half full or glass half empty as far as Russ goes with the Broncos? And number two, have you ever been that person who had like this amazing bash, like all planned out, and yeah, the world didn't show up for it?
Well, I think the first thing, and it's funny because you see on social media, you're talking about how, you just think everything is good, and especially because Sierra's posting it and whatever, and it looks amazing. That just goes to tell you, like, nothing is ever as it seems, especially when it comes to social media. And maybe they didn't really think anything of it, but I think given the fact that half of the team didn't show up, and especially those that were invited, is a little weird. But I've always thought that it was kind of like that with Russ because he's married to a superstar. They are different. I mean, if you really want to be honest, they do kind of separate themselves just because of the way that they are and the stardom that they bring. Maybe some of his teammates don't feel like he's very approachable. I don't know. I'm not his teammate, so I don't know. I know that people have said in the past he is very different and distant, I think is the right word. So I think it's a little bit telling of just the way that social media portrays itself. And maybe he didn't care. I mean, who knows? You don't know if he cared or not, but I think it probably is a little bit telling. It's just funny that we have to talk about his birthday party. Honestly, who cares? But we're going to make something of anything. And I know I saw it all over the internet this morning. I was like, wait a second, there's controversy with Russell Wilson's birthday party? Why?
Yeah. The world we live in. I literally went to sleep last night, and that was one of the last stories that I checked out. And I wake up this morning, and I'm like, how did this turn into a thing? Like, I didn't see it, but like you said, perfect example of how everybody's not the same. Okay, we are all not the same. Russell Wilson and Sierra, that's a whole different story. And you're looking at it, and don't get me wrong, Seattle, of course, was a little bit more like blue collar, for lack of a better term, than say if he was playing in LA or New York. But Seattle had kind of gotten accustomed to him and his stardom and all of like, the bright lights. Denver's a little bit of a different town. And I think that sort of that franchise, just because between that rookie coach and everything that they thought it was going to be, that it's not. I do agree with you. I think there's just a little bit of some distance maybe there just because of the cachet of who they are versus the cachet of who the Broncos are as a team and as a franchise.
And it's new.
So like it's very interesting. I'm going to watch this, but I will tell you this. I also said, and this is probably not going to sound nice, but do you think Russell Wilson gives a flying flip Sierra as his wife? The end. He has signed a big old contract. So guess who's winning? Russell Wilson. So it is still a happy birthday for that guy. And a happy time here on ATL Day Ones. Why? Because, hey, you guys see so much love for my girl, Maria Martin, whenever she comes in and subs in, whether it's for me or whether it's for Jarvis, who is in Utah right now, enjoying some time with the Tegna team. So appreciate you for stopping by. You know that I'm going to be pulling, not just for you, but for our girl, Allison Mastrangelo, however that works. Maybe there can be a tie. Maybe they can just be a tie.
Great. I love that.
And if there is, I'm here for it. We're going to go out and we're going to celebrate. I'm going to claim it right away. So thank you so much for stopping by. And guys, anytime you have time on a Sunday night, you should be checking out Sports Extra because that's good stuff from Maria as well. And of course, don't forget to check out Locked On Sports Today. That's an amazing, amazing look of a podcast for our Locked On Sports Network. And keep on coming back because we can't do this without you guys. And don't forget, drop some comments on us. We appreciate your feedback. And whatever you do, be safe out there in those streets because, hey, we need you guys to come back tomorrow and find out what the preview is for Hawks Nuggets. And we're going to have a special guest from Locked On Steelers to talk about keys to the game for Falcons Steelers. And of course, we're going to tell you what we think about Go Tigers or Go Dogs. Have a great afternoon. We'll see you tomorrow.